Well, hi guys and gals, it's me, George, the Shade Tree Fix-It Man, with a short shaky cam update on the Goofy cart. Goofy has brakes. Now, you remember last time you saw I had this master cylinder here mounted back in here, like that, and I had all kinds of linkages and leverages. I had this thing down here to try and make it go up and down, and I had this mounted up here. Well, no matter how I moved it around and changed angles and all of that kind of stuff, I could not get that to work. And I realized that part of the issue was that this is a very small master cylinder, and the reservoir is only up in here. And so every time you needed to put more fluid in, you have to take this cover off. And that wasn't a big deal, except there's hardly any fluid goes in there. So now, the master cylinder we have now is not any bigger. In fact, it's very similar in size and so forth. But the fact is that the reservoir is up here. So I could fill the reservoir up here, which is going to make it 100 times easier for me when I'm using it. All I got to do is unscrew the cap, pour the fluid in there, and I could see the fluid level, which was hard to see with this because all I had was this little sight glass. You know what I'm saying? And once the body is on, that would have made it even more difficult to see. So we have hook this one up, and instead of all the bell cranks and all that kind of nonsense, we have pretty much a straight shot. I had to make this rod here and flatten out the end so that the clevis goes through this piece that came with the master cylinder. And this is the existing rod that we already have. I did modify this holder here so that we have two of them, and this one here I had to bend it up, get it in a little bit tighter, and get it more lined up, and this still had to be bent a little bit. As you can see, it's not perfectly straight, but it still works. So that had to be bent a little bit to accommodate this, and I flattened out the end of this. This actually was a bolt when I started. And so when it sets at rest, take you over here to the brake pedal, and the brake pedal needs to be cleaned and painted and finished off. Here's my stop here. I'm way away from the stop, and even when I push it down, it's not going to hit the stop unless I run out of fluid, and in which case I'll be in big trouble anyway. So that's working. You can see how it goes back and forth, and I have already bled it, and it works. Woo! Let me put you on the stand and I'll show you how well it works. Okay, so I have you up in the stand, and it's released so that we have the free swing of our rotor here. My rotor is just a little bit warped, but that's not going to be a huge issue. Got to remember, this Goofy cart isn't going to be going 90 miles an hour. So it's moving anyway. See that? Now if I push down on the brake pedal, it ain't moving anymore, and George is pulling as hard as he can. That puppy's going to do the job. So I'm very happy with that. Yeah, you take that off because I'm done bleeding the brakes, and wipe this fluid stuff off of here. So now the next thing I have to do, I'm going to have to clean and paint all of these pieces. Of course, I have a hole in here, I have another hole in here, and then I have another hole in here, and I have another hole up in here. All holes that I had drilled, plus two holes back here where the master cylinder had been mounted. All these different holes I had mounted, trying different levers and pulleys and that kind of stuff. So some of them I'm just going to put a button head screw in, and I'll use the back side to hold a wiring clip or something like that. These here, that's what I'm going to do with these two here, which you can't see. Not that it really matters much to you. But you see I've got one here. You can't see it because it's behind the cable. But then we got another one up here. And I'll probably just put button head screws in there and hold wire looms on the back side, because I got wiring going down through this. And once you know, all of my wiring comes down through this side. And there's no wiring on the other side, but this is where the brake has to be, because over there is where the drive chain and all that stuff is. It would be neat if it had been over there, but there's only so much room for stuff to go on, you know what I'm saying? So that's where we are with that. I have to make a modification to this unit here. I've got to shorten it up, because when I put it in place here now, because of the way I have flipped the carrier bearing around, it doesn't fit right in place. That's an easy fix. So yeah, I'm gonna have to take all of this off. I'll do what I got to do to the holes, and I'll probably do a quick sanding job and re-tape it off and repaint this section of the frame, because I've scuffed it all up. And so yeah, this brake thing has been buffaloing me quite a bit, and I have a few incidentals along the way to fix. We removed all of the hardware that was on it for down here, so this rod needs to be repainted, because it's necessary. It holds my two sides together and ties it all into one unit. We have these up top, and then we have that down the bottom. So that's it. That's it for today. Short day for me out here. I've been out here for, I don't know, 3 hours, I guess. A lot of tinkering around. You know, you see where my stool is sitting. Yeah, that's because I sit in my stool and I look. And I do a lot of looking. And a lot of dreaming and a lot of thinking and a lot of figuring. And to get to this part, all I had to do is take screws off to get the old master cylinder off. But to do all of this, and it's 3 hours of work. Don't look like much. Oh, George, just slap it together. Well, you can't just slap it together. You gotta make sure things line up properly. No more jabbering. Thanks again for watching, commenting, subscribing, and for the thumbs up. Goofy's got brakes. Bye for now.